Okay. I don't know how this angle should be, but I hope this is going to be a good enough angle for me, where it makes sense and so that I can edit it. So good morning everybody. Good morning everyone. Today is, I actually don't know what day it is. I'm assuming today is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, November 27th, 2024, and it is approximately around 10 in the morning, give or take, more or less. But it's not 11 yet, and it should be around 10 a.m. Okay, these details are important to me because what I'm about to get into, and me knowing that this video I'm going to post it on YouTube, I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to release it into the world, into the universe, into the atmosphere. And I've already prayed over it that it would do what it's meant to do what it's supposed to do, and be what it's supposed to be. Because this is going to be my first time really being authentic and transparent about who I am and sharing myself and my story with the world. Chrome, if you don't know, I do have a Yorkie. He is 10 months old, and I had to put him in his carrier because he's gonna just, as I'm sitting here, he will keep jumping on me, and that's a bit distracting. Speaking of distraction, bear with me, y'all. I am a little all over the place. There's a lot of things that I want to address, but first let's take some Adderall so that it can help me focus. Okay, I'm taking, this is a 5 milligram pill, and I'm going to, please YouTube, it's prescription, it's prescribed medication, and I'm only gonna bite half of it. And we're gonna take it with Celsius. Yeah, that's a little bit of my life, okay? So I'm gonna title this YouTube video probably something around the terms of why I quit my 9-to-5. It's gonna be something along those lines. So let's get into it. But first, I'm gonna describe where I am right now, and we're gonna go back to the beginning. So currently right now I am staying in a hotel. It's not the best hotel, but it's not the worst either. I have seen a few roaches. I don't know. We all know what roaches are. We all know what they indicate. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've done my part here. I've gone to Dollar Tree and I've bought cleaning products to help out my situation, this situation, but it just is what it is right now. Okay, so let's go to the beginning. My name is Shika, okay, and until I feel comfortable exposing my government first name and last name, Shika is what it is. Okay, Shika is what it is. I'm Shika. I am obviously African American. I am 29 years old, and I was born in Los Angeles, California in March of 1995 on a Sunday. So do with that information what you will. So let's take it back to the beginning. I'm not going to come on here and really talk about my childhood trauma or talk about my parents divorcing when I was 2 years old, and coming from a poverty, coming from a family who has hardworking but just struggled financially and struggled in so many areas. I would say my conception, I feel like I've come to the conclusion as I've gotten older that is just, you know, a lack of preparation. You know, my parents were both extremely young and still navigating their childhood traumas, and then boom, you know, kids. You know, it's that age old story that we are aware of now. You know, I'm more educated on the subject a little bit. I've had years to kind of really reflect on my childhood and, you know, the traumas associated with it. So with that being said, a lot of my experience in life, they all stem and they go back to, you know, my childhood and how I grew up and how I felt in my childhood, and just poor education. Really, that's really what it boils down to. You know, it was a lot of suffering, unnecessary suffering, just because of the mindset, just because of the conditioning of the mind. And pause, y'all. You know, I know we watch YouTube videos and people do like, matter of fact, let's pause right here and get into this. Liking, commenting, and subscribing. Follow my TikTok. I'm gonna have this stuff in the description. I realized that with me being so open and transparent, like really being open and transparent to the best of my ability right now, that I may receive a lot of backlash, just for the truth, you know, for the truth that I'm going to expose about myself and my experience in life. And that is totally fine, because, nobody's backlash, nobody's negative perspective or comments or mentality towards my living truth has anything on my perspective about the things that I've endured and I've overcome and still fighting. Okay? You and your opinion has nothing, cannot top what I know, what I've felt, what I've gone through. So let's just put that out there. I welcome any perspective, any comment, any understanding of it, any feedback. You know, freedom of speech is a human right. It's not that deep. You know, like I said, I don't put that above my truth, you know, me. So anyway, I just have to put that out there. It is what it is. You know, it really is what it is. So let's get back to childhood. But basically, I don't really know if I should make a long story short or really dive into the details of the things that has, you know, kind of shaped who I am today. I don't know, or if I should just stick to, like, you know, the basics. If you know, you know, and then kind of tell you how that has translated into my position today. You know, and kind of why I quit my 9-to-5. I hope that this little light that I have isn't dying, but if it does, I don't know, y'all. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to spit this out because I do have other things that I want to do, and I don't know how long it's gonna take me to edit this video, because I'm gonna include other things just besides me talking in this segment in the video to make it entertaining and fun and, you know, positive. I'm assuming that this is dying, and I'm not sure I bought the plug for it. I didn't want to have to split these videos in two, but I'm gonna have to. Pause 1 second. Okay, I know it's a little dark, but so this is the light that I'm using that I ordered off of Amazon, and it has a USB-C. So I have some Beats earphones, and I know it takes a USB-C charger as well. So we're gonna see if this light will still work while it's charging. And if it does, we'll just use this light, but if not, I'll have to take out my other light that I have. And this is the part that, you know, people don't really get into when they're filming. I'm gonna need a extension cord, so for real this time I'm gonna be right back. Okay, y'all, it's charging and it's on at the same time. So shout out to how far we've come in technology. So I hope I don't get confused in these videos and know where to begin from. I'm not sure if that was the, sorry, my eyes are adjusting to the light. I'm not even sure if that's the correct light. Anyway, moving on, y'all, moving on. All right, childhood trauma. Childhood trauma. Okay, so yes, essentially in my book, you know, my mom remarried. It's really not my business to be, you know, exposing my mother's point of view, but I need to paint a picture. I need to paint the picture so that you guys will understand how I've, you guys will know a little bit more about myself. So essentially in my book, I was really raised by a single mother just because of, all of the struggles and things, emotionally and financially, and just the heavy burden of preparing for the heavy burden of, I have an older brother, biological brother from both parents. Just the burden of, navigating all of these things, being so young, having children, coming from where you come from, getting married at a young age for these reasons. And then kind of being, divorce, it ends in a tragic way, tragic from the jump. And then now, it's this separation situation, and financially, and just that lack of support in motherhood, for reasons I'm not going to get into. But in my eyes, my mother has been my idol, in a sense. She was my role model. I picked up many of her ways, many of her emotions. It took some time for me to really admit with myself that I'm an empath, very extremely empathetic, to the point where emotions transfer to me. So me not knowing that at a young age, and my mother experiencing what she experienced, and me not understanding, lack of education, lack of knowledge on how to articulate these things that I'm feeling, and just everything that's going on, and I'm a kid, it wasn't until later that I'm able to tell you in words what I was experiencing. But I, was groomed, taught to be independent. This is a story that a lot of Black women are aware of. I'm hyper independent, because it was always this story and this notion that we cannot depend on men. We cannot depend on the fathers. We cannot depend on the men in our family to provide for us, and to and to step up when there really needs to be a man to step up and guide and provide and all these things. And then this trauma and this negativity around depending on a man, you know what I'm saying? So I was always taught to take care of myself, to provide for myself. And I know we're still pushing that rhetoric to young women and stuff, but there's a lot of people in the world who really depend on their men. Whether that's their uncles, their brothers, their cousins, there are women in the world who really can rely and depend on men to have their back, to call them when their car breaks down, to call them to buy them a car, whatever the case may be. There are a lot of women that have that mentality. That just wasn't something that I was fortunate or unfortunately enough to adopt. So in my head, I can't depend on a man. Not my father, not my brother, nobody. I don't depend on men. My mom has always been the backbone of my survival, in a sense, but I do realize where the men have played a part in my life and where they've contributed now as an adult. But as a kid and as a teen and as a young adult, it was say, no say. You know what I'm saying? It's like forbidden, like, yeah, y'all talk good, but y'all don't back it up. My mom has always been the one to back it up, even if it was hard, even if it was, extremely hard and sacrificial My mom has always been a woman in my eyes to get the things done, to get the important things done. And that's with whatever, you know. But at the same time, I also with that, I also came this overwhelming sense of feeling unprotected. Because childhood trauma led me into high school. I went to high school at a very well-known and famous high school in Los Angeles, California, on the west side of Los Angeles. Public school. I did not go to private school. Public school. And not too much is the high school that I went to well known for academics, but more so like films that have been there, famous people, famous athletes, the athletic department, famous athletes and musicians and music programs that have been popularized, have been well known in Los Angeles, California. So that is the high school I attended. And my experience in high school overall, you know, I did a lot of extracurricular activities. I was even active in childhood too. You know, I started cheering when I was around 8 years old. I played basketball for the YMCA before then, for like 1 year. And then I went to high school, and so we bounced around. We moved a lot in my childhood, but I was adamant. I was made sure that I put a lot of emphasis on that I stayed and I attended one high school. I did not want to bounce around middle schools and elementary like I did. I didn't want to bounce around like I did in elementary and middle school. So I made sure that in my mind, I knew that I wanted to stay at one high school, attend this one high school, no matter where we lived, no matter the moving, no matter the drama, no matter any of that. I knew that no matter what, I was going to stay in this one high school. And it just so happened to be that with all of the sports that I did, because I did softball, I did water polo, I did the swim team, but I was really a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader, and a girl that I met on the first day convinced me to try out for the cheer team with her, and I did, and I ended up being the captain from the 10th through my senior year of high school, captain of the cheer team. So I was, you know, popular, but I am a humble person. I've always been extremely humble. So I didn't really understand the magnitude of popularity, or like, it didn't really hit me until after I got out of high school. You know, after I graduated and I was gone, I became an adult. Like, wow, I really accomplished. I mean, I could have, you know what I'm saying? I was just aware of a lot of concepts that I didn't really magnetize when I was actually in it. So I knew a lot of people, and a lot of people knew me, but I really stuck to a select few or whatever. And you know, I was a cheerleader, so I had my cheer squad, you know, as far as friendships are concerned. But with being a cheerleader came a lot of, and being in LA, and I'm class of 2013. So I graduated high school in 2013, and with that, during those times, you know, from 2009 to 2013, whatever was going on in LA, you know, I was experiencing that. So, you know, there was a lot of partying, there was a lot of sex and drugs that was experienced, and just being honest, just being 100%. But I also had this baggage, you know, of childhood trauma, and not really I was able to perform, literally and metaphorically. I was able to perform, but I had a lot of anxiety and depression and self-esteem issues. My mental health was not where it was supposed to be, but at school, you know, so many distractions. You know, you got friends talking to you, inviting you here. You know, you trying to get your hair done. You trying to look good. I'm being influenced. I'm being peer pressured into doing what everybody else is doing. That's me. You know, I get with the program, get with it or get left. You know, and that's never been me. I'm always down for a challenge, but I had a lot going on, and so I would betray my instincts, you know, when it came to people, places, and things, experiences that I probably shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have been associated with it. Wasn't good for me, wasn't gonna benefit me in my future, or I was looking at it coming from the wrong direction. You know, I was so young. So I'm not gonna get into everything, but I have experienced, so I guess this is a testimony. These are testimonies. I don't know, y'all. I hope y'all are following. I hope this is not too much information. I'm getting there. We've gone to childhood. We're in high school now. I hope y'all are following. So yeah, a lot of alcohol, underage drinking, a lot of drugs, a lot of sex. I lost my virginity though, and to someone that I went to high school with. That wasn't my boyfriend at the time, and I was 17 years old when I lost my virginity. And so I did experience getting pregnant, you know, at an early age. So I have experienced an abortion or two. And that's really vulnerable for me to say, because I know how people feel about abortions. And at one point I was going to keep one of my pregnancies, was going to go to full term with one of them, but I just couldn't, knowing that deep down on the inside, I've always felt a lack of support emotionally, financially. I just always felt like I was going to have to suffer. And still to this day, I will not bring a child into this kind of environment that I live, into this level of survival. Because I just think that's really unfair. When you know better, you should do better. Seriously. And I get it. At some point, I did go and get birth control. I did go get an IUD because of my mom. She did encourage me to do that. So I did do that. And I still have an IUD. So anyways, but the person I got pregnant by was my was my high school boyfriend that I was with throughout high school. But we were young and dumb and just, you know, just unprepared. Whatever. I digress. You know what I'm saying? We all can fill in the blanks and read in between the lines of this stuff going on, right? So anyways, after all of that, y'all, I graduated with honors from this high school, and I originally and initially did apply to UCLA, but I wasn't prepared for that. You know, my mind was all over the place. So many undiagnosed things, so much just going through it at a young age, trying to navigate like what I felt in my childhood, what I'm still going through at home, trying to, you know, just everything everywhere, you know. My eyes was not on the prize. I did not have that support. You know, there were people that were in high school who knew that their end result was to go make money, go play professionally, go, you know, use the resources that are available to public schools and, you know, right there, apply to scholarships and get grants. And you know what I'm saying? They had a plan. They knew themselves. They knew what they wanted to do. They knew what they wanted their future to look like. They were in it to win it. Even while, you know, still having a ball and a blast, they were still preparing for the end game of graduating high school and, you know, moving on and, you know, doing what they essentially wanted to do. That was not on the forefront of my brain. You know, I was kind of stuck in the moment. So I did not get into UCLA because I was unprepared to write my you know the letter you have to write when you apply. I haven't applied, you know, it's been so long since I've been out of high school. You know, whatever the terms are when you're trying to get into a school, you got to write like this submission, you know, your letter to try to get in and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, I did not get into UCLA, because of my grades, but also because I feel like I didn't really capitalize on my truth for real. I couldn't articulate as well as I can now back then, and I didn't ask for help. That was on my own. Nobody knew I really wanted to go to UCLA, but I didn't get in. But I applied to other colleges, and I did end up. I was accepted into Cal State University of Northridge, also known as CSUN. Obviously, it's a California State University, and I chose to go there. And so I went to Northridge, and straight out of high school, and I lived in the dorms, and I got financial aid, and we graduated, we moved, everybody dispersed, okay? But if you still living in LA, you still local, you still doing some of the stuff you picked up in high school, still talking to some of the same people, you know, y'all still there. So a lot of different things happen. You know how it is. We know how it is. Like I've experienced so many different things with so many different people, but you know, it's all local, all LA, all young, all just very ignorant to some situations and people and things, you know. Because I'm trying to get y'all to understand my mindset, you know, trying to get y'all to understand I've been through a few things. So I went to college, I went to Northridge, and honestly, best time of my life. Still throwing parties, you know, still drugs, still alcohol, still sex, you know, it's college, you know, it's college. Still no support though, really what I need support in, still no really any financial support. You know, I was working and going to school, and I did make the dean's list my first year. So school is not a problem for me. You know, I would say that it was easier for me to become book smart more than it was street smart. But now I can say that I'm kind of adjusted to both book smart and street smarts, but more so now street smarts, because I'm more in the street than I am in the books. Unfortunately, take that for what you will. Not necessarily really in the street, but just learning how to, just knowing, being accustomed to really surviving, okay? Books, no matter where I'm at. But anyway, CSUN was a time. CSUN was a blast, okay? Nobody talks about all the famous people that are in LA. So yeah. You know, I met a lot of famous people, a lot of people who have money. Like high school, we went to YG House. I mean, it's all kind of things. I'm not going to start naming off celebrities because this is not about them. Okay, this is not about them. I just am trying, for the people that are not from Los Angeles, California, what they say about it, as far as you could be at a coffee shop on Rodeo and see, you know, the most Kim Kardashian walk in. I mean, that's really true. And that was exposed to me and us at such a young age, you know, and a lot of people that went to the school that I went to became famous, are famous people now, famous NFL players, famous rappers, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that mentality, it's the mentality that I'm really trying to highlight. So yeah, I ended up dropping out of CSUN in 2015. I didn't make it to my sophomore year. And that was due to me really feeling overwhelming about the burden of my grandmother on my mother's side, my maternal side, passing and being sick, and all of that responsibility falling on my mom. And like I said, I've always been really clingy since a young, you know, since forever, very clingy, very attached to my mother. So her pain, I essentially took it on as my own. Very empathetic in that way. And it is destructive, you know, because it wasn't my pain. You know, it wasn't my struggle. I didn't have to internalize her struggles, you know, as a grown woman, as a mother. I wasn't a mother. I wasn't grown yet when I was a kid. You know, I internalized her traumas and her issues. So I ended up dropping out of school because I was like, what am I doing this for? You know, I majored in psychology, but I was like, I don't want to be a psychologist. Like I told y'all, my head was not in the game. I was working. I had been working since I was 14 years old. My first job was a summer internship at an aeronautical museum in Compton, California. And I had been working since I was 14, going to school and working. And I just, you know, that scenario and that situation has never changed. I've been working at a young age, and I just felt like there was a lack of the support that I needed to really focus on on my school. You know, I had all of these real life things going on and trying to get a degree at such a young age, but nobody in myself still had not given myself the time to embrace and really release my childhood trauma that I had internalized. And that manifested and exasperated and turned into really serious mental health issues, like anxiety and depression and low self-esteem and undiagnosed ADHD and all of these things, you know. But at the same time, very high functioning, still able to perform. I made it to the dean's list. I graduated from honors. I still was accepted into, I still had high grade point averages. I still was in the extracurriculars, you know. I still was able to accomplish a lot of things, even though on the inside I was a bit twisted. I was a bit twisted, y'all, for real, for real. So anyway, I dropped out of school, and every year since 2015, I had been trying to get back into school. I applied to local community colleges, got in there, dropped out, got in there, dropped out, got in there, dropped out. Just cannot focus because I hadn't been diagnosed with ADHD yet. I hadn't had the medication. I hadn't had the financial support that I needed. You know, at one point I was, you know, on CalFresh food stamps, you know, receiving welfare, government assistance, you know, trying to make it. So fast forward in 2018, in the year of 2018, y'all, in April 2018, after getting a new car that I bought straight off the lot, 2016 Honda Civic, after going through a domestic violent relationship, after this, that, and the third, after getting my new car repossessed, dropping out of college, after all of these things, I end up getting an offer of employment. I went to go take a test. I ended up getting an offer of employment from the Department of Children and Family Services, Los Angeles County, Department of Children and Family Services. All right, so if you're not from California, you're not from Los Angeles, a little bit of backstory about DCFS, as some of you may know as CPS, Children Protective Services, is it's a department within Los Angeles County. Los Angeles County has about 30 something departments. So this is just one of those. And it was founded by a woman who wanted to offer some resources and support. Stop it. Dogs are so annoying. Resources and support to women and children. And it was founded in around how do I not know this? I forgot, 19 something, that it was originally founded by, and it was, I believe it was a Caucasian woman who founded it. I'm not gonna lie. So anyway, yeah, I took a test, passed it. DCFS sent me an offer of employment. It was a mass hiring in 2018. And I was like, this is a blessing from God. Like, this is a blessing from God, because I had the intention, I had the understanding that I was applying and taking the test and trying to get this employment, this job, passing a typing test, doing all of this so that I can go to school, you know, so that I can afford to eat, have a car, have my own apartment. I wasn't living with my mom. You know, I grew up with my grandmother. I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta go back. I grew up with my grandmother on my dad's side. I grew up in the church. When I wasn't with my grandmother, I was with my dad. I was with friends, whatever. High school, same thing. Lived with my high school boyfriend for a little bit. You know, kept leaving my mom's house. Can't live with my mom. Kept leaving her. You know, kept not being around her. My mom was always at work, though. My mom worked majority of the time, but when she wasn't at work, you know, it's always something going on. So when I left to college, again, left to live on by myself. So I knew that I needed to get my own space and my own place, because living with my mom is just too triggering. Until this day, living with her is still too triggering. It's extremely triggering for me. So, what happened? What was we talking about? So sorry. I probably have to cut that out. Oh, I grew up with my grandmother. Yeah, I grew up in the church. Yes. Church of Christ. Yes. mass hiring at DCFS. So I was like, oh wow, this is a blessing. This is a huge blessing. I was staying with my biological father at the time in an apartment in Inglewood. And I was like, yo, because after I took the typing test, I was doubting, because I hadn't prepared for real. Like, I hadn't prepared for no typing test. That was my first time taking a typing test ever in my life. And you have to type at least 40 words per minute. And after I left, I remember in downtown, I went to go take that test, and I was getting on a bus to go back to Inglewood. And I was like, dude, if this doesn't happen just because of that typing test, I just remember like thinking of the worst, of course, right? Thinking of the worst. So when I received that letter in the mail from DCFS, like, you need to report to this office on this day because it's a letter of offer of employment. I'm like, yo, like, my life is about to change. Like, I'm so happy. So I show up to an office that's very local to where I went to high school at. I'm going to be a little bit discreet about this because I just don't know the implications of everything that I can really say, because DCFS is the largest child protective services in the world. So I just don't know what I can really say and what I can't say. I don't know how far this video will reach. I'm not going to do too much, but I am going to be completely honest enough for you to understand, you know? So yes, a very local office, because due to my address, they will place you in an office that is near where you know, they will have you work in an office that is near to your home address. So I was placed in an office that was near to my home address, literally down the street. And I also grew up around there, and I also I was just thinking about Section 8. You know, I was just thinking about Section 8 right now. I also went to high school. So this is the area extremely familiar to me. So anyway, accept my offer of employment, go there. First day, I remember my first day. I'm literally visualizing it right now, remembering the thoughts in my head. And I will say this, because now we're about to get into the topic of this real video. We're about to get into the topic of this video for real. Why I quit my 9-to-5. Okay. The job that I started off with was an intermediate typist clerk. And you don't need a degree for it. You just have to pass a test, like a basic arithmetic test, and be able to type 40 words per minute. I didn't have to interview because it was a mass hiring, and we wonder why it's a mass hiring. DCFS, whoo, y'all. I've said all this to get up into this moment of reading them for filth, essentially. But I can't really read them for filth for real the way that I want to, because like I said, they're an established department. I don't got nobody on my side but the Lord. You know what I mean? So management from the beginning. But so I was young. I was 23 years old. I'm now 29. I was 23 years old when I was first offered that job. And when I went in, you know, we were told to sign a bunch of papers. I was assigned a cubicle, and then you're going to have people that have been working there train you, basically show you your little job that you're going to do, your little clerical task and responsibilities that you're responsible for. They're going to walk you through it. They don't get paid extra for that. And that was my first time working for that kind of job and being in that kind of environment, working in an office, having a cubicle. It was just so much that I was so blinded to, and so ignorant and so silly and immature. I knew that I was doing it for survival, but I was genuinely just not really knowing what to expect. I didn't really have any bad. A family member of mine, which is the one that told me about the job and encouraged me to apply for it, told me that I needed to go in there and stick to myself, that they're not my friends, that your coworkers are not your friends, you know, kind of just lay low. And that was easy for me because I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? That's easy for me. But I probably took that to, you know, a huge extent. So I'm just in there doing what I'm supposed to do, but not really showing my personality, you know, just trying to keep it professional, sticking to myself, staying to myself, not really getting caught up in office culture. And when I tell y'all, we are in the middle of South Central LA, like the west side of Los Angeles. These are normal, regular people living their normal, regular lives. It's just that we work in an office and we come into the office to get, you know, to get paid and live our lives. But there's people of all ages, of all ethnicities and cultures. There's a lot of Black people, it's a lot of Hispanic people, Latino people. People got kids, people are husbands, people are wives, people are baby mamas, people, you know what I'm saying? Titles is whatever, but then you have some management, you know, women, black women, you know what I'm saying? So DCFS, woo, DCFS, y'all. Being an employee, being on the inside, looking out, hearing what, oh my God, I can't even really sum it up into words. But my point of view is coming from an employee perspective, being employed. Okay, I can get into public perspective and all of that, but this point of view is really why I quit my 9-to-5. All right, and let me just say this. Everybody has a biased, everybody can come from a biased standpoint, a biased viewpoint and perspective about my position. You know what I'm saying? Some people went to college and graduated to become a social worker. Some people really believe in the mission and the goals in which DCFS was founded on. And I'm gonna be honest with you, coming from a woman's perspective, and I've reflected on this so many times in my head. Coming from a woman perspective, that this woman went through all of whatever true lengths that she went to get a department where resources is for women and children, and to have experienced the level of abuse and negligence as a woman employee within this department, there are no words. There are no words. Nothing in the world could have prepared me for the level of just disorganization and spiritual warfare that I truly, and many people experience and are experiencing working for that department. I will say this. I can get more into details about what it was like for me working there, and my personal issues and coming into that kind of a background. Hold on, I'm sorry. 1 second. There are a lot of things that contributed to me filling out a DCFS form and submitting my resignation on a random September 19th and calling it quits after being promoted. See, I went through a lot of things. I grew up with domestic violence. I got involved with domestic violence myself. Underage drinking, drugs, partying, college, education, extracurriculars, money, drama, family issues, friendship issues, mental health issues, lack of knowledge, lack of preparation, lack of support, blind eyes, social media, comparing ourselves, doing things out of survival, trying to change our lives, getting involved and not being transparent about who you are because you're afraid. I'm afraid. I was fearful. Still afraid, y'all. I'm still afraid. But what scares me more than being honest and exposing myself and my life is dying without the chance to see why God keeps telling me to do it. I'm not afraid of death. I've had too many people that I love die I've watched both of my grandmothers take their last breaths. I'm not afraid of death. Death is rest. Rest in peace. You easy. You know what I'm saying? It's this living thing that is the suffering and the pain. It's the living that's the suffering and the pain, not the death. Death is easy. So I'm gonna die anyway. One day I will be gone. I will have transitioned, hopefully to be with my higher power that I believe in, my faith, hopefully, be resting, abiding with the Lord. But until then, I'm down here and I got some work to do, and this is a part of the work. And I can go in a long, elaborate detail, band for band, detail for detail, about why the Department of Children and Family Services in Los Angeles County needs to be stripped down from the top to the bottom and just let AI take over. Let AI take over. Let AI take over how to listen. The age-old, overworked and what is y'all know what I'm trying to say? When you overworked, and it has something to do with pay, and it's crazy. It's a little saying. You're overworked and underpaid. Overworked and underpaid. That needs to be the mission and the goal of DCFS. Overworked and underpaid. They have a union. It's a union based, and you got to have a union, y'all, because the things that management who were once in your position started from the bottom, because that's the way DCFS is. It's ranked. It's by ranks. It's like in the military, government. It's a government job. You work your way up via title. So you could have somebody who is the head boss of the office who used to be a clerk like you, but just a complete blind eye to your struggles. You know what I'm saying? Financially and just personally, and just, it's just ridiculous, y'all. When I tell you ridiculous, I can't get with it. Me and DCFS came to a point where we did not align. DCFS, I realized a long time ago, within like the third year working with DCFS, that DCFS was like an abusive husband. Really an abusive husband is an abusive relationship. They overwork you and they underpay you. They do not care how you eat, how you make it. They do not care about that. Did the work get done? They sending you emails, condescending, talking out the side of their neck that you can read through these emails. And you either gonna play the game or the game gonna play you. You know what I'm saying? So I learned a lot. I've learned so much, which is the reason why, looking back on this, when I'm more established later on in some years, I'm gonna be grateful for my experiences, good and bad, with DCFS, because I learned DCFS made me grow up and mature so much more than any other abusive relationship I had encountered in my life. DCFS really traumatized the hell out of me and made me really get my mind right and lose it at the same time. It's just so much happened for me working in that department. And again, I'm gonna go back to the basics of saying that I never aspired to be a social worker. Somebody's got to do that job. But the way that they have so many loopholes around just trying to ensure the safety in kids and children and families thriving, the way that you got to go through so much obstacles is discouraging and disheartening, and it gets to a point. So for someone like me who never aspired to be a social worker, to do that kind of work, all of that stuff was just pile on top of pile why I should not be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are doing too much. Y'all are doing too much for a person that really don't want to be here, who only signed up to do this job so that I could afford to take care of myself. But I don't, in survival, you really just doing stuff to make it to the next day. You really not thinking about, I wasn't at the time thinking about the long term, the end goal. What is this going to look like long term for me? What am I going to do long term? I'm really just making it day by day. And that day by day turned into 6 years for me. 6 years of things, of trauma that I never thought I would experience and go through, that changed me from the inside out. And then one day in September, I was like, you know what? I don't even really fuck with the law for real. I don't even really, after what I've been through in my life, after what I know that come on now, my skin is brown. Okay, we all know the history of law enforcement, okay, especially in Los Angeles, California, especially in California, especially in the United States. I do not, for real, I do not mess with some law enforcement, okay? And DCFS works side by side with law enforcement. I was like, nah, this does not align with who I am, with my truth, with my revolution. You know what I'm saying? This does not align with that. And I've been doing it to make money, but the money been making me. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody always told me, don't work the job, don't let the job work you. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a little bit of both. At some points, DCFS did try to swallow my asshole, for real. That department is not for the weak, but if you are passionate and that's the kind of person you are, then yeah, you're gonna stick beside it. You're gonna think that the risk is worth the reward, that the pros outweigh the cons. Everybody's biased. Everybody has an opinion and a perspective about it. This is just my point of view. My point of view coming from a child that grew up in a divorced, separated household, that grew up with a single mother. I am a Black woman. I do come from government assistance, Section 8 and welfare. I do come from mental health issues. I do come from domestic violence. I do come from all of these things that this department was founded on trying to help and advocate for. They're trying to educate the workers on biases and child development. And you know how many times I walked into that office and was triggered, that I was triggering to someone? You know how many times I was triggered and almost lost my mind? Not almost did. I did. I completely lost my mind. Several. I can't even count how many times I lost my mind and still had to show up, still had to perform. We still have to perform. Come on now. I'm still performing. How I feel on the inside, how I've been feeling for years, not to mention COVID, not to mention, y'all, I was employed with DCFS for 6 years. 5 of those I lived in my own studio apartment in Inglewood, paying an arm and a leg for a place that didn't even have a full bathroom. Okay, how you work 40 hours a week in a salary job that has a pension and a union and all of these benefits, Los Angeles County, a government job, you supposed to be okay. No, there's days I couldn't eat because I had to pay my rent just by myself. So the bias comes from my point of view, coming from lack of support, not having any children, being a one household, one single person income. We have to take all of these things into consideration when we have employees, because everybody's situation is not the same. Some people are gonna feel like it's not that bad working for DCFS because they have support. They're not coming from no credit, bad credit. You know what I'm saying? They can depend on their spouse. They can depend on their family members, their in-laws. They can call a cousin or two when they need some gas money, or you know what I'm saying? They want to go have a good time on a Saturday night after work, and the need to spot them $100 till they get their next paycheck in the next 2 weeks. Some people had it like that. I didn't, and I don't have it like that. And even if I did, I would never ask. So I hope y'all can read in between the lines of everything that I'm missing. It's really a lot of information to just bombard everybody with and really get the full picture of what I'm saying. But it has to be said. It has to be said. I have to release this and get this out here. Why I quit my 9 to 5. Now, why I quit my 9 to 5, mental health issues, they couldn't afford to pay me. They couldn't afford to keep me there. DCFS could not afford to keep me housed and transportation and food and work clothes to make it back into the office Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week. They could not afford me. The prices went up. My pay did not. Even with promoting. Before I resigned, I went through the lens to get promoted. I said, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a bad steward over the finances and the benefits that God has blessed me with. Maybe it's me. Even let me just work harder. Let me just move up. Let me make more money. Yeah. Even with promoting, y'all it still wasn't enough. Still is not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. So, and like I said, I'm aware of biases. You should be aware of bias too. Somebody that is in a different situation, that is not their head of household, that is the 100% bills and responsibilities is not on them, isn't going to have this same perspective, isn't going to have this same outlook, isn't going to be able to go bar for bar, detailed receipt for receipt about what I experienced and why I decided that. It made no difference if I resigned or didn't. It makes no difference in Los Angeles, California, if you work 40 hours a week or if you do not. You're still going to be struggling. Some days you're still going to have to choose gas over food. Don't even think about a social life. What relationship? What I got money for? Come on now. Let's take all this into consideration. It works for some. It did not work for me. It absolutely did not and could not keep on working for me. I should not have to feel so unstable and instable and dysfunctional in a job that I'm working 40 hours a week for. No, it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense, and it doesn't make sense, and it won't make sense, and it's over with. I can honestly say right now that I will never, ever put myself in a position to ever work for DCFS ever again in my life. In my life? No. Per policy, DCFS says that after you resign in 2 years, you can reapply and, try to work again from the bottom up. You won't see me working. You won't see me applying for the Department of Children and Family Services ever again in my life. No, I've had enough. Y'all did y'all big one on me. I'm good. Stay far away from me until the United States really gets a handle on things that they turn a blind eye to. I can't do it. Because like I said, everybody's situation is different. I'm a single woman. Y'all are taking all of the taxes out of my paycheck. I cannot afford to come back to work every day. And you don't care about that at all. Just figure it out. You don't care if I got to go sell my ass before I come into work, selling my ass when I get off of work. You don't care. Just as long as I come back and do my clerical responsibilities and send you a nice email. Please. Not me. Not today. Not again. Not ever. So I did resign. And I'm currently still unemployed. Because like I said, I am extremely traumatized by work culture. I'm extremely traumatized by taxes. I am extremely traumatized by working hard and getting nothing for it, still drowning. I'm extremely traumatized by all of my efforts. And I'm a creative person. I tried every which way to hold on and to make it work and to get ahead and to be nothing but slung back 20 steps behind. Get your ass back. That's what life keeps saying. Get your ass back. As a matter of fact, stay down. Kick you while you're down. You know what I'm saying? I am extremely traumatized by that. And, yeah. But also, there's been a lot of discourse about people quitting their jobs to pursue social media. And what I have to say about that is, I've had several social media accounts just as everyone else. You know, I was back in the MySpace days and things like that. But in real life, I'm introverted. I'm introverted. I am reserved. You know, I can even say shy and timid. Not as much as I used to be. I'm a little bit more just like IDGAF, you know, now. I guess that comes with age and maturity and experience and all the things that I've experienced. I will tell you like it is. I don't care about the end result. You know what I'm saying? You ask me a question, I'm gonna tell you like it is. But I'm not overbearing. You know what I'm saying? I don't trauma dump. Everything is very strategic and intentional with me. Because there's a time that I just lived reckless, and I have nobody to show for it, y'all. I have no friends, no supporters, no supportives, nothing. And so sometimes I even question myself, like, why do you want to do social media when social media is nothing but internet community? It's like you can't even really fathom a community in real life, let alone you pursuing it on the internet. And I guess it's different because we're not face to face. You know what I'm saying? I can't feel your energy. You can't feel mine. But I remember in 2016, I was sitting in my car and I was like, I need to make a YouTube channel. I was so cute, y'all. I had my nose rings in. I was young. My hair was done. I had on some purple lipstick from MAC. I had my ear piercings, my tongue ring. I've always had a tongue ring. I've had a lot of piercings in my life. You know, I still got certain things. But I was real cute and I was like, I need to make a YouTube channel, you know, a YouTube channel. I remember back in 2016. And I never did. And then what got me through COVID was social media. I had COVID twice. I did get vaccinated because it was mandated by my job or I would lose my job. Social media and YouTube has been getting me through my parasocial relationships, whatever you want to call it, has been allowing me to survive. Having people that will be transparent and honest about their lifestyles and their testimonies and things that they've overcome and that they've faced, and the struggle and the crying and the laughing and the funny and the authenticity and the art and all of that stuff had really, 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 I'm here today because we are humans. We were built and made for connection. And as much as in real life, I don't care if you stick beside me or if you don't. I know that as a human, as a woman, I can only get so far by myself, with myself. I've only been able to get so far with myself and by myself. So it's going to take a lot of courage for me to actually post this video because I'm really exposing a lot about myself to people that I don't know. And I don't know what's going to happen. You know, it may flop, it may not. You know, hopefully I don't get DCFS coming after me like they come after negligent parents. But DCFS, please don't play with me. Please do not play with me. Because for all of the documents that I can prove everything that I'm saying, all the receipts that I have to prove everything that I'm saying as far as how terrible y'all are as employers, please do not play with me. Because when there's a will, there's a way. Listen, DCFS is not for everybody. DCFS is not for everybody. Okay? It wasn't for me. That's my truth. Deal with it. Accept it. Or scroll away, click off. I hope that y'all would be honest in the comments about anything and everything. I will read it. This is a one-woman show, y'all. I don't care how popular this video gets. I hope that I can get monetized. Content creation, okay? I was going to pursue it back in 2016. But I had so much maturing to do before I came in front of an audience of people. Before I came in front of people of all walks of life that are going to watch me and listen to my words and listen and see my character. I was extremely too reckless when I was growing up. Now I think deeply and hard about the decisions I make. I'm very intentional today, extremely intentional and strategic today. I have a method. Everything has been overthought. I'm an overthinker. I know exactly what I'm doing right now. I know exactly who I am in front of this camera right now, doing exactly what I am choosing to do for the reasons it needs to be done. And I'm gonna let God do the rest. I'm gonna let God do the rest. There's been so many success stories of YouTubers. You know how YouTube has changed people's lives. I know that there are pros and cons to everything. Whether you think being an Instagram model and looking the best, you think there's so many pros and so many benefits, and there are. But then there's the cons to it, you know. Nothing is perfect. We do not live in a perfect world. Perfection does not exist for us humans. There is a flaw. There is a broken system. There are systems in place. There are things that get you from one end to another, that get you from A to B, and sometimes it's not always pretty. So that's just the truth. I'm aware of that. But sometimes, to me, the thing about DCFS is that the risk wasn't worth the reward. You know, everything that is flawed about that department wasn't worth it to me. The cons outweighed the pros for me. See, I'm willing to deal with a little bit of drama. I'm willing to deal with a little bit of ignorance and shaming and negative comments and whatever comes with being a YouTuber or whatever, content creator. I'm willing to deal with that stuff because I believe that the reward is worth this negativity over here, worth the flaws, the you know, it's more of a benefit than it is a subtraction. That wasn't the DCFS, but it didn't become that for me. They took more from me than they gave. And I feel like content creation is something that I know that I can do. Over the years, people have said dropping seeds, and, you know, it's God, you know, he's really like, this, you can do that. You really should be doing that. You know, you really should do it. But I was too afraid, too unprepared. And I still have my doubts today. You know, I'm like 29. I'm like, who listening to me? Who wanna, you know, I don't even know B-roll. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know all of the little effects and editing skills that I should know, as much YouTube videos that I watch. And y'all know, you know, but I can learn. That's the thing about me. I'm very resilient and I'm a fast learner. And I will do, as long as there's breath in my body, I will do whatever I have to do by any means necessary to survive. And not just survive, I'm trying to get to a place where I can thrive. And I just feel like me thriving comes from being obedient, not perfect. Not perfection. I'll never be perfect. It will never be perfect. But being obedient, being human, being real. Like, I could have cleaned up my background. You know what I'm saying? I could have cleaned up the background. I could have paid for a nice hotel just to make a YouTube video. You know what I'm saying? I could have done that. Or I can show up how I'm able to really show up about what's really going on in real life with me. And I'm not doing this video for sympathy. I'm sure there are a lot of people that will feel empathetic for me and sympathetic for me. There's a lot of things to feel, you know, some type of way about, but that's not what this video is for. This is really a test of faith, an act of courage, and the start of something destined to be. So it is what it is. I'm mad that's the last Celsius that I have. And I didn't do no lick of makeup in this video because I really needed to focus on my words. And I'm gonna still have to edit this, maybe record what I do for the rest of the day. I'm not gonna just edit. I have other things that I have to do or want to do. To be honest, y'all, I'm not working right now. I'm not thinking about working. I'm really not. I'm not thinking about getting another job. Take that with what you will. Nobody can stop me though either. I'm too grown. It'll be, we got 1 month left to the year 2025. I turned 30 years old in March. Going uphill, preferably not downhill, going uphill. Can't nobody take the credit for that. Nobody can take the credit for that. Nobody can convince me, persuade me, or speak what is for me away from me. What is for me is not going to miss me. And after everything that I've been, I know that to be true. So I'm not really too much worried about it. This was I don't know how long I sat here and spoke. I probably didn't mention everything that I really wanted to mention about my experiences working with DCFS, just because I can't, for legal reasons. I really feel like that's not something that I should do, especially if this video blows up or whatever the case may be. But I might put something clickbaity in the title so that it can blow up, because I didn't do my exit interview after resigning from DCFS, but I want them to know just how much they are not for people in my position, for women in my position. That department needs psychological evaluation on everybody, from the top to the bottom, in every office. Okay, it's an issue. It is toxic work culture. It is spiritual warfare. That department was supposed to be founded on the missions and goals of having resources for women and children. And when I tell you, it is the most abusive to a single person, single woman trying to make it, trying to survive. Okay, it is not for me. I don't have children, never had children, never been married. I'm head of household. You are not for me. And I really had to sign those divorce papers on September 19th and really walk away from a 6-year relationship. And when I tell y'all, I was terrified for weeks after resigning. Terrified. In my soul, I'm like, what did I just do? And to pursue social media? Pursue content creation? Are you insane? Are you dumb? How are you gonna quit your 9 to 5 to pursue something that you haven't even really done what you needed to do, did all of the research that you needed to do to really start making money online? You don't even know. You don't even know, and you just quit. Yes, because it's more than me pursuing content creation and all the other goals and aspirations that I have. I had to let go of a toxic, abusive job. I had to let it go. It took me years to put myself before that, to put myself above that. I took years of emotional abuse, traumatizing, lack of everything that you need, gaslighting, you name it. I took years of it before I said, you know what? No matter if I sink or swim, I'm worth more than this here shit right here. This here, I'm worth more than it. And that is a testament to who I am as a person today. The minute that you disturb my peace just way too much, I don't care who you are, you got to go. Now, I will not say that for YouTube yet, because I know that negative comments on the internet can be overwhelmingly negative, but y'all don't got nothing on real life. That's just my, like, I done been through the mud, the trenches, you know what I'm saying? I am a gutter rat. A cute one, but I just feel like y'all don't got nothing, y'all don't have nothing on my real life strength. There's nothing you can say or do that's gonna scare me. You know what I'm saying? But if it becomes more of a, I'm just being honest, if y'all start talking more than I get paid, yeah, y'all gonna have to go too. Y'all will have to go too. And trust me, I feel like I am worth watching. I wouldn't put myself out here and do this if I didn't feel like I had something worth watching. Trust me. I think about everything, and I'm aware of a lot of concepts and things, and have a lot of wisdom, and I truly will not put myself in any place or situation or person anymore moving forward, knowing what I know now, knowing what I've been through now, if I didn't feel like if it was worth it. You know, I'm very realistic and honest with some people are not gonna like, you know, my content. You know, some people are not gonna resonate with this. Some people, you know, what it is, you know, whatever. But if I truly felt like I wasn't worth watching, that I didn't have something to contribute, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. And I think that's why for so long I haven't really put myself out there, because I just felt like I wasn't worth watching. I felt like what I had to share, and me being too afraid to share it, wasn't worth watching. But now that I have the courage to really be honest about who I am and, you know, my life walk and all those things, yeah, it's worth sharing. Because half of the stuff that I've been through, a lot of people have never been through that. You know what I'm saying? Just being black is a testimony in America, being a black woman. That's half of the things that I've witnessed and I've gone through and I've heard and I've endured is worth the subscription. So subscribe, please. I'm only gonna ask once. I'm just playing. So anyway, I will post this video. I have faith that I will post it. It's not going to be perfect, but it will get posted. And depending on how it does, how well it performs, I don't know. I'm going to give it a month. I'm going to give it a month to gain some traction, some see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's too much, I'm going to just crash out. I'm going to get to crashing out. I'm not going to lie. See how well it performs. See what my higher power has to tell me. And that will be confirmation and enough for me to do what I need to do so that I can really create the content that I feel like is worth watching, that I would watch. You know, this is a self-love journey. This is an end to my 20s, and stepping into my 30s and looking to a brighter future, because I've had a really, really, really isolated and dark past, and that was for a reason. That was for a reason. I'm gonna give myself some credit. I'm gonna give God some credit. The things that I've experienced and how heartbroken and just abandoned and neglected I felt, all of that is for a reason. And we're gonna turn my pain into purpose. And I hope that y'all, you know, want to go along for the ride. But buckle up, because nothing about my life has been smooth, if we're being honest. Anyway, I'm grateful to myself. I'm grateful to God. To God, all the glory. He is really the reason. Okay? Gotta give credit where credit is due. He definitely deserves all of it. I would not be here today if it was not for the love that in which we cannot be separated from. So yeah, thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all have a blessed day, and hope y'all come back and look for my videos. Hope y'all leave some comments. You know, be honest. I don't care if they're good or bad. You know, I take everything into consideration. I appreciate all feedback and constructive criticism. All of that stuff is can be used as fuel and power and motivation. So I don't scare easily, but you know, and I can delete your comment, bro. No, I'm just playing. But I can and I will. But yeah, y'all, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I'm gonna go ahead and sign out because I have to use the bathroom. But peace, love.